Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Actually It's Amira, where I talk news, celebrity, gossip, hot topics. You name it, I talk about it. And today we are going to be talking about the whole Meg Thee Stallion case. I don't know if you guys are tuned in, but she is supposed to do a full sit down interview today on CBS. I'm about to say Good Morning America on CBS with Gayle King, discussing her allegations that Tory Lanez did in fact shoot her after a night out on the town. Now, Meg the Stallion asserts by saying that she and Tory, along with a few friends, were inside of a vehicle coming back from the club. She wanted to leave the club while her counterparties wanted to continue enjoying the night. And because of that, a fight ensued in which Meg the Stallion was told to exit the vehicle, or I don't know if she did it voluntarily or involuntarily, but once she stepped out of the car, she alleges that Tory Lanez drew a firearm, took himself outside of the window and began to shoot her as if you would do to somebody like during a minstrel show. Like, I don't know if you guys are familiar with like how they used to treat slaves and how they used to make slaves dance on cue. Like dance, N-word dance, and then they go and they shoot your feet and then you just jumping and hopping and bopping. Like, that to me played on a very toxic and scary stereotype um that triggered me, especially as a Black woman, of like this whole idea of violence and crime against Black people, and making it seem like our lives are only of value if we can perform. Now, I have a few different feelings about this Meg Thee Stallion case that I kind of want to talk through with you guys, but I will go off top by saying that I do personally believe that Tory Lanez did shoot Meg Thee Stallion. Do I think he intended to shoot to kill her? No. I think he was trying to be funny and drew a weapon and was shooting at the ground around her. Like, literally, I believe he did tell her to dance, bitch. And, thinking I'm not going to really hit her, but definitely shooting at the ground beside her. And I think as a result of that shooting, rocks and debris and asphalt flew up from the ground, ricocheted, and penetrated her feet, which is what Cedars-Sinai's Medical Hospital is reporting. They're reporting that there were some fragments taken from her foot, even though they've been misplaced, and that they did find the residue you would find in an explosion on her person, on her ankles. So that leads me to believe that a firearm was fired. I'm actually, and I know that this is not being reported, but the way in which they're trying to say that they can't find Tory Lanez, allegedly, they're inconclusive about whether his DNA was on the weapon, allegedly. I'm almost led to believe that I think more than one person shot at Meg Thee Stallion. I'm not above believing that not only did Tory Lanez pull the trigger, but that maybe some other people grabbed the gun and pulled the trigger as well. And it was like a community engagement rather just a single person. And I think that in Meg's attempt to defend her friend or to protect some people, it's all being put on Tory Lanez. But I think that the night seems a lot more inconclusive than I'm willing to believe. Mostly because there is an eyewitness that said he saw two females fighting in the car prior to this incident occurring, and I'm more likely to believe that it was a be, it's never funny. It's never funny to draw a weapon on a female and like put them in a situation where they could be killed, harmed, assaulted, disfigured. That's never okay. But what I really want to talk about is the much deeper, the much more layered conversation that needs to happen around the value of Black women in our lives and our viability. And, one thing I want to say about Meg Thee Stallion that I think may hurt her in this case, especially when things become circumstantial, because Cedars-Sinai Medical Hospital losing medical records proving that she had been shot allegedly is very damaging to her case, because as they say, in order to make a murder you need a body. The same thing with, in order to prove a shooting you need evidence. You need evidence that it was bullet fragments. You need evidence of an eyewitness saying who pulled the gun. You need this person either to admit that they did it, or you need a very strong circumstantial case that leads us all to believe it happened. And when some of those dominoes are falling down, you now have to start to ask about the question and question the character of the person who is doing the accusation. And that goes back to Meg Thee Stallion. And I think because Meg has made a image of herself that she takes advantage of men in vulnerable situations through her music. She said, talks about how, I'm all about my money. I'm all about taking advantage of men. I'm all about getting the best out of any situation when it involves a man. I'm not above sticking somebody up, to get what I want. Like, she's not above these things. And even though it's just music and people can say music is just creative expression, when you've built an entire brand for yourself off of exploiting men for money and for fame and fortune, it doesn't look good in court when you have a largely circumstantial case that your character now has to be questioned. And now when people say, well, what kind of woman is she? Do we believe she's the kind of woman who would make up something to benefit herself financially and or to benefit her celebrity? And that becomes a topic of conversation. The same way it will become a topic of conversation for Tory Lanez and his criminal past, if he has one. That's definitely going to be brought to the docket. And it then boils down to a question of character. Do we trust that Meg Thee Stallion is not lying about this and that it happened the way she said it happened? Or do we believe that Tory Lanez is capable of committing an assault and a crime against another Black woman? But even larger than that conversation is the way in which the media has inserted themselves into this conversation about Meg Thee Stallion, painting her out largely, a lot of news outlets painting her out largely to be a liar and or exaggerating about what actually happened that night. And I think it's important that we bring light to the fact that it's not okay to dismiss violence against Black women. And I think that everybody deserves, Tory Lanez included, deserves to be innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. The same way Meg deserves to be heard out in court for her account of those events and let the jury decide whether or not there's enough evidence to convict. But the media convicting Meg Thee Stallion as a liar, as someone who made it up, as someone who stepped on some rocks and is exaggerating about the situation, completely discredits the experience and the violence perpetuated against her as a woman of color and her experience with another man. And I don't think that's okay. And that's where I find a fundamental issue. Do I think a strong argument could be made on both sides about whether it did or didn't happen? Absolutely, I do. Because it's too many gray areas in the case. The hospital losing the records, even though the hospital was saying her admission reason was a gunshot wound. When you walk into a hospital, you say why you're here. You walk into the hospital says, why are you here today? And you can say, I have a cold, I have the flu, I've been cut, I've been stabbed, I've been shot. And they're obviously going to put into their records reason for admission, gunshot wound. And then after their investigation, there will be a diagnosis. And that is what we need to be concerned about. What was the diagnosis? And it appears that diagnosis was that the presence of gun residue was there, which means someone fired a weapon. The question is who? And I'm led to believe it was multiple people who fired a weapon that night. And that is why Tory Lanez, I feel, is so adamant that it wasn't just him. But he's not a snitch. I think he's going on this whole idea of, I'm not a snitch. I keep it above board. And, you got to catch me if you can. While Meg Thee Stallion is being painted out as somebody who glorified the street life, glorified the stick-up life, glorified the exploitation lifestyle, only to sing like a canary the moment things aren't looking good in her favor. And I think that's why so many people have an issue with Meg coming forward about this crime against her. That's personally what I believe. But at the same time, I don't think it's okay, because if Meg Thee Stallion had been killed that night, nobody would be saying, oh, it was just a joke, or, oh, she's a snitch, or anything like that. And you don't know what can happen. Accidents happen all the time, especially when you're dealing with dangerous weapons. So I'm interested in seeing the full case that displays with Meg Thee Stallion on CBS today, because I'm very interested in moving this larger conversation forward about whether or not the events occurred the way in which she said that they did. So let me know in the comment section down below if you believe Meg Thee Stallion is innocent in this situation and that she is the victim, or if you believe that she is capable of setting up Tory Lanez in an attempt to further her celebrity and discredit his as an act of retaliation for him sleeping with her friend and former assistant. I really want to hear from you down below because I think there's a great conversation to be had. Don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. And I'll talk to you guys next time when there's more breaking news. Have a great day.